So when you're talking agriculture, you're talking of a tradition that spans centuries for Indiana County, and it remains the backbone of our local economy. You know, family farms, though, unfortunately have seen a decline in recent years. I know, looking at statistics, there have been a dramatic decrease in the number of family farms in Indiana County, and that concerns me. You know, 1% feeds the world, and I understand that. I've worked very closely with the agricultural community since becoming the Chamber of Commerce president now for going on 6 years. I've attended informal breakfasts with farmers and those in the agricultural community once a month. We meet to discuss the issues that concern them, the issues that concern the dairy farms across the Indiana County rural areas in western Pennsylvania. So I'm deeply concerned with the state of agriculture right now. We need to do everything we can to support the agriculture industry, make it easier for them to make money, make it easier for them to do what they need to do to provide the food and the products that we need across America. And really, I think people need to be more aware of just how much work goes into putting milk on your table, to putting you know, food in the refrigerator, to growing crops, the challenges that they face. I am a firm believer in supporting the agricultural industry, and that again goes back to education. We need to make sure that we are giving them the resources that they need to be successful, that young people realize that they could have careers in agriculture. We need to make sure that we have agricultural programs in our local schools, and then it's fundamental that we have to support agriculture in Indiana County and across Pennsylvania. It wasn't many years ago that energy companies were trying to get as much of a presence in Indiana County as they could. Let's not forget that we sit in the epicenter of the Marcellus and Utica basins for natural gas. That makes that resource ours right here in Indiana County. So when they start talking about severance taxes and things like that, I think that is the absolute worst thing that we could do right now for the energy industry. We already have an impact fee that's generated more than $1.5 billion for our local economies. You put a severance tax in place, that's another tax on top of that impact fee, and I can guarantee you that that money is not going to come back to Indiana County as it does now with the impact fee. It's going to go to Harrisburg, where they will decide what happens to our money that should be for our people here in Indiana County, because we're the ones who have the gas here. Harrisburg wants to tap into that resource, and it should be staying right here in Indiana County. We need to get the energy industry back to where it was a few years ago. We need to get those jobs back in Indiana County and western PA. And we need to do that by, one, we got to stop talking about a severance tax, and we got to make it easier. We have to make it easier for these companies to set up shop here in Pennsylvania. The permitting process right now is extremely out of whack. They take sometimes 3 times as long as they should to approve a permit for capital improvements, for drilling, for all those things that the energy industry needs to be successful here in Indiana County. You know, we're seeing a lot of changes right now with the cracker plant that's being built in Beaver County. You're going to see an increase in demand for natural gas here in the next couple of years. Once these pipelines, there's a lot of pipeline infrastructure that needs to be put into place so that we can get the gas to the markets overseas and on the East Coast. That's all going to be coming together here in the next couple of years. But if we don't have the processes in place, the policies in place to allow those energy companies to come back into Indiana County and western PA, we're not going to see the amount of growth that we could see through the energy industry. So we need to make sure that the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, is processing those permits timely. We need to make sure that we are not continuously threatening additional taxes on an industry that's struggling right now. And really, we're pushing them to other states. So we need to do everything we can to support the coal industry, to support our natural resources industries, natural gas, coal. We need to support the coal miners. That's a big resource that we have right here in Indiana County as well. I really think we need to do everything we can to welcome the energy industry back into Indiana County and western Pennsylvania. During this election cycle, you know, I've knocked on thousands of doors. I really want to know what people are thinking, what their concerns are, because I believe that I can make a difference if you elect me as your state representative in Harrisburg. We need someone with my depth of experience, with my understanding, with my passion and commitment to helping other people, to be in this leadership position, to make a difference for the lives of people here in Indiana County. I believe that we need to put more money back into the hands of families, back into working people's wallets, because we're seeing it across the country right now. Put people back to work and life gets better. People spend more money, your tax base increases. You know, we have a budget in Pennsylvania for the first time in many years that's actually balanced, and that's because people have more money to spend thanks to the federal tax changes that occurred last year. We're seeing jobs across the board increasing, and I think we need to continue that. We need to support businesses, allow businesses to grow. We need to eliminate some of the red tape that holds businesses back, particularly the energy industry. We need to bring those energy jobs back into Indiana County and Western Pennsylvania. We have to make sure that our tax structures in Pennsylvania indicate that we are open for business, because I really believe we support business, we support the energy industry, and we're putting more money back into people's wallets. We're giving them good, family-sustaining jobs. A lot of our other problems will take care of themselves as well. So we're going to do everything we can to support job creation, to support business growth, to support education, to support our families, to support our communities and our young people. We want to make sure that we are keeping people right here in Indiana County, right here in Western Pennsylvania, not pushing them away because we don't have jobs or we don't have the tax structures that attract businesses. We need to do the right things for working families and working people. We face many serious issues in Indiana County and across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but none more critical than the real estate property tax issue. We have to find a better way to fund education and remove that burden from people on fixed incomes, remove it from working families, and put more money back into people's pockets. We went through some serious travails in the past couple of years when the property tax reassessment process took place here in Indiana County. Going door to door, I've spoken with many people on fixed income, senior citizens, who simply had the rug pulled out from under their feet when their taxes increased, sometimes double and triple in many cases. So you put yourself in their shoes. Think about, you're retired, you have your house paid for, you think that you're going to be fine, and then all of a sudden you have a property tax bill that increases by several $1,000s. How do you come up with that money? We're seeing people leave Indiana County. We're seeing homes being put up for market and not being filled. So we have to address the property tax issue. That has to be our #1 priority. I support Senate Bill 76, House Bill 76, which would eliminate property taxes, at least eliminate the school funding portion of that. So we need to make sure that we are pushing that agenda forward. We need to address the property tax issue across the Commonwealth, particularly for the people in Indiana County. Education funding is important, obviously, but we need to find another way to fund that. And the mechanism in place right now that we want to move forward is Senate Bill 76, House Bill 76. So I fully support the elimination of property taxes. I believe we have to put more money back into people's hands, more money back into working people and families, get their budgets back to where they should be, and take this burden of property taxes off of people. I spent 14 years working for the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation as a community relations coordinator and then as a press secretary, serving all the Western Pennsylvania region here in District 10 and District 11. We have critical infrastructure needs in this Commonwealth. We need to make sure that our bridges are adequate to carry manufacturing loads, to carry tractor trailers, to carry school buses. It's a serious dilemma that we have right now. We need to make sure that we are adequately funding transportation. We need to have capital improvement projects. Indiana County only has 4-lane highway access through 119 and then down to Route 22. We need to do what we can to improve access, to attract more businesses here. That's one of the challenges that we face when trying to attract businesses, is we don't have that highway infrastructure. Infrastructure also equates to broadband and technology. We need to make sure that we have broadband access across all of Indiana County, particularly in the rural areas. It's very hard to attract businesses that can't access high-speed internet to process transactions. It's hard to attract families who need broadband access, high-speed internet for their kids to do their schoolwork, or for people to work remotely from home. So we're seeing a lot of people who want to live in Indiana County because of our tremendous quality of life, and they want to work remotely. So I'm seeing that as an increasing trend here locally. So we need to make sure that we have transportation infrastructure in place. We need to make sure that we have the broadband infrastructure in place, and we need to make sure that we have all the other services that are critical related to infrastructure, water and sewage examples. So we need to make sure we have all of those in place, that those projects are being adequately funded so we can expand access to those resources, and then we can attract more people back to Indiana County. We can attract more people to Western Pennsylvania and across the Commonwealth. Those are critical components that people need for good quality of life, and we need to continue to broaden that out across Indiana County and across the 62nd District for the people of Indiana County. It's sad, and I think that it's something that's permeating all levels of society right now, or all levels of families, and that's the opioid crisis. We continue to see thousands of people die each year due to overdoses, and it simply has to stop. The formula is not easy to address, and I think though that we really have to become more aware of what's happening in our communities, what's happening with our young people, what's happening with people of all ages who struggle with addiction problems. First and foremost though, we have to decriminalize the addict. People think that drug addicts are losers and things like that, and it's simply not the case. Drug addiction affects people from all walks of life. I've personally suffered a loss through my brother's death about 3 years ago, so I take this issue very seriously. We need to do everything we can to help people break the addiction cycle. We need to give them support. We need to put more funding into treatment. We need to make sure that our treatment programs provide enough time for people to actually recover from an addiction problem. 20 or 30 days is simply not enough. We need more extensive programs to help people get off of drugs and get back into the workforce, get back into contributing to society on a meaningful level. We need to make sure that our enforcement agencies have the tools they need to get these deadly drugs off the streets. It's simply gone on for too long, and we need to end it now. We need to get people back to being healthy, living quality lives that contribute to society. Families have been destroyed from this opioid epidemic, and it simply has to stop. And I will do everything that I can to make sure that our law enforcement agencies have what they need to combat this epidemic, to make sure that people who have an addiction problem have the resources they need to recover and get back to a normal way of life. I think it's a crisis that affects everyone at every level, and if you think it doesn't affect you, it absolutely does. Getting back to the workforce issues, I hear a lot of employers, as I said in the other segment about workforce development, we have jobs available here. A lot of people can't show up on time and pass a drug test. We have to get people off of drugs, get them back into meaningful lives, and contribute to society. It's something that will help us on many levels if we can solve this opioid problem. In the past couple of years, we have seen the business sector come back very strong thanks to the federal tax changes that were made. We're seeing manufacturers doing well. We're seeing the healthcare industry needing employees and growing in many ways. We're seeing the financial sector increase. But the one issue that I've been working on closely as the Chamber of Commerce President for Indiana County is workforce development. We have jobs right now here in Indiana County, and we are bringing a lot more jobs to the area as we speak. There's a lot of things that are happening with the Windy Ridge Business and Technology Park. We're going to see new businesses coming there. But again, the challenge is, do we have the workforce to meet those needs? Right now, there are good jobs people could have here in Indiana County. But the issue with workforce is really somewhat complicated. There's the K through 12 component where young people need to be made more aware of the the career opportunities that are available in the trade industries. We're seeing record numbers at the Indiana County Technology Center in classes like welding and machining because there are jobs available. So we need to do more to align our workforce with the jobs that are available now and the jobs that will be available in the future. It's an alarming figure when you think about in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have 80 to 100,000 jobs that need filled across western Pennsylvania, due mainly in part to baby boomers and a mass retirement that's going to be coming here soon. A good job is a plumber, a good job is a welder, a good job is an electrician. You're going to see those jobs paying very well. So we need to align our students and their parents in particular with the jobs that they can have as they get out of school. We need to make sure we're addressing those needs. Plus, we need to help displaced workers find new jobs, whether that's more training that they need. We need to get people who are suffering from an addiction problem perhaps back into the workforce. So we have a lot of opportunities with workforce here in Indiana County. There are jobs here. We need to fill those jobs, and we need to align our workforce now and in the future with the jobs that will be available in the next 5 to 10 years. I will focus closely on that because I believe it is of the utmost importance. We want to make sure that our young people have opportunities right here in Indiana County.